UFC 203 predictions. First up, we got Dober versus Jason Gonzalez. Gonzalez has the reach and size advantage. Previous Ultimate Fighter from season 22. Dober, a Muay Thai specialist, he'll like to keep it in the stand-up. I want to go for a second round TKO for Gonzalez. Second, we've got CB Holloway versus Francimor Barroso. Dolloway has lost his last 3. He's 15-8, which is not very good. Barroso, a previous Shuto competitor, and lost his last fight with the UFC to Krylov, who was very impressive in his last fight too. Lost that fight via a rear naked choke. I'm going for a Barroso TKO in the first. Next up, we got Yancy Madeiros versus Sean Spencer. Madeiros, a former Strikeforce fighter, very nice striker. I'd like to see a bit more from him on the ground, but as far as the stand-up goes, he's very accomplished. Spencer likes to go the distance a lot. Lost his last 3 of his last 5 fights. So he's not in great form. I think Madeiros takes this pretty easily. I'm going with a first round TKO. Next up, we've got Ian McCall versus Ray Borg. McCall was meant to fight a few weeks back, but obviously the fight didn't go ahead. Borg, a submission artist. I feel that he's also 9 years younger than McCall, but I'm going to go for a McCall decision. I just feel that his experience will carry him through the fight. Next up, we got Tavares versus Magalhaes. Chow's won 4 of his last 5. Tavares has won 2 of his last 5. So in terms of the form book, it favours Chow. I'm going to go with Chow in 2. I'm going to go with a Chow decision. Next up, we've got Nick Lentz versus Michael McBride. McBride is 8-1. He's won 4 of his last 5. He's got the size advantage too, but he's less experienced than Nick Lentz. So experience is a vital factor in MMA, I think. But as I said, anything can happen. So I feel that McBride will try and take it to the ground, but I don't know. Like as I said, the experience isn't there for him. So I think that's gonna be a pivotal thing in the fight. Lentz comes out of American Top Team, very respected company in the UFC. So I think he's got a good base to come from, and in terms of experience, he's already got more fights than McBride, so I think it favours him. I'm going to go for a TKO in a second for Lentz. Next up, we got Jessica Eye versus Bethe Correia. Eye's lost her last 3 contests in a row, so that's got to be eating away at her. So she's got to be very aggressive from the gate as well, just to try and take everything away from previous fights and do all she can from the gate to establish a W. Beth's lost her last 2, so they're both not in good form. I feel that this is going to be a scrap, but I'm going to go with a decision win for Bethe Correia. Next up, we got Joanna Calderwood versus Jessica Andrade. Calderwood, very impressive against Valerie Letourneau. Like, I had Letourneau for that, and Calderwood she bullied her. Just finished her with kicks and punches, and yeah, it was quite an ugly sight, but very impressive. Like, she just went to town on her and just put a lot of pressure on her and got the TKO. So she's very impressive, Calderwood. She's only lost 1 fight as well. She's 11-1 overall. Andrade, decent ground game, but I feel that Calderwood will just press her, put too much pressure on her, and I see her winning via TKO in the second. Next up, we've got Jimmie Rivera versus Urijah Faber. Urijah Faber is just one of the veterans of the game. I think he's highly respected, even though he's come up short a lot in terms of losing on minor technicalities and things like that. Great fights with Dominic Cruz in the past, as you know, and yeah, he's just a warrior. He can take a fucking hit and he can stand and bang too, and he's a fucking NCAA wrestler as well, so he's very well rounded. He's just, as I said, he's a warrior, and that's what you need. Still going as well. Like, he's probably going to retire soon. This could be one of his last fights, so he's going to look to put a lot of pressure in the fight, I feel, just to go out on a bang if it is one of his last fights. Rivera, excellent boxer. We want to keep it striking. Yeah, I'm going to go. Rivera's 19-1 as well, so this is a hard one to call, I feel. A lot of people were favouring Faber. I'm going to go with Rivera just because he's in a better form, and he's like he's 10 years younger than Faber too, so I'm going to go with a TKO in a second for Rivera. Next up, we got CM Punk versus Mickey Gall. CM Punk, when I used to be a wrestling fan, was definitely one of my favourites to watch. He was the most closest to mixed martial arts style in wrestling by far when he was there. I've been watching his documentary, getting ready for the fight, and I've got to give it to him. He's got balls, and I really want him to do well. Mickey Gall is pretty unheard of. Got found out via looking for a fight, and yeah, he called out CM, and he's only got one fight with the UFC, which he won. I just feel that Punk needs at least 2 to 3 years training before he steps in. He's not got any amateur background, and this isn't wrestling. It's not scripted. Yeah, wrestlers get injured and things, but this is mixed martial arts. Anything can happen, and as I said, I give him credit because he's got balls stepping in there, but I think he's going into it too quickly. And I know he's not the youngest of guys, so he probably feels like he needs to squeeze it in, but I feel that he needs, as I said, 2 to 3 years training before he steps into the cage for his first fight. I feel that it's going to be over quick. I'm going to go for a Mickey Gall first round TKO, possibly a KO. Fabricio Werdum versus Travis Browne. Werdum lost to Miocic. I was glad he lost. I wanted Miocic, but I did pick Werdum for that fight just because I felt he was more well-rounded, and especially I just pictured him taking Miocic to the ground, but obviously it didn't happen. I feel that that's going to light a fire under him though for this fight, and he's going to come back to prove that he deserved the respect that he had before that loss. Travis Browne, there's something about the guy that I just don't like. Obviously he's with Ronda. I'm not the biggest Ronda fan either. I feel his striking's pretty good, but I just think Werdum, even with a striking, could edge it. He's very clever in his movement. I feel the movement's going to be the biggest factor in this fight, and obviously the ground game. I see Werdum taking it to the ground and getting a submission in the second round. And finally, main event, we've got Alistair Overeem versus Stipe Miocic. This should be a barnstormer. Miocic just fucking hands of fucking stone, even though that's someone else's nickname. Can't think of the fighter right now, but that just sums the guy up. Like, I think he's got a bit of ground game from what I remember, but he doesn't need it most of the time because his hands do the talking. One punch from that guy, it's lights out, as Fabricio Werdum found out. And bearing in mind that Werdum fight was in Brazil, so it's even more impressive what Miocic did. I feel Alistair, he's on a run of a few good, very impressive fights, and he's been knocking guys out, TKOing them. He's known for his being pretty good on the ground, but as I said, recently he's been TKOing people, so he's improving his skill set even more. His chin's a questionable factor. If he gets hit, I could see him being over there early. If he leaves his chin out there, Miocic will bang it, and I see Miocic winning if that happens. Saying that, I feel that Alistair will be very savvy in this and grind Miocic down. And I see him submitting Miocic in a second round. Now, I prefer Miocic. As I said, I was over the moon when he won the title, but there's just something I got in my head that is telling me Overeem. As I said, he's on a good run. He's coming into this in his confidence is fucking sky high, and all the pressure's on Miocic, I feel. So it's in I believe it's in Cleveland. Is it Cleveland? I'm not. So it's even more pressure on Miocic. So I feel Overeem's got nothing to lose. Second round submission, Alistair Overeem. Make sure you tune in Saturday night, check it out, get to the building early if you're there, and support the company, and yeah, just support it, man. Like, I hate seeing empty seats all the time.